comments, anybody? No? Okay, so we're gonna move on, and this is a very exciting day, because Mr. Jamie Stottlemyre, our Assistant Sue of Operations, is gonna address the board and introduce our design team for SHEIKO. Thank you.
Slow down.
I'm very excited. So John Castellana and Curicini from TMP are here today again. They are pretty much the stars of this show, so I'm gonna turn it over to them in a second. But if you remember, they were here back in November and they presented the schematic design of the SHEIKO Elementary School to you. We've been working through that design, and so today they're gonna tell you about the design development and the progress that we made so far to date. So with that, I'm gonna turn it over. That was an easy introduction. I'm actually gonna go sit back in my seat so I can watch it.
Yeah, right. Thank you, Jamie. Hi, everybody.
Hey, John.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how about you?
Real good. I'm gonna do a little review of what we saw back in November, just to refresh your memory. We also have new books for you, but we're not gonna hand these out till the end. We'll pass them out at the end, but they're updated with, and specifically, you probably wanna look at page 52 and beyond, which has the new program of ingredients. And we've been working through this with Blaine and staff members. We've had lots of good interactive discussions as we've gone through from the schematic design to where we are today, which is design development. And design development is it's really the third phase of the project. The first phase was the pre-bond, and then schematic design, and then design development is the next one. And where's my little prop of drawings? Those are at half scale, but lots of different drawings are presented along with specifications. The construction manager is presently putting pricing to that area to make sure that we're still on track with where we need to be to keep things on budget. But we've had lots of interaction. All the engineering disciplines have been brought to the table. We've had group discussions with, as I mentioned, with Blaine, staff members, all of the different disciplines that are going to be within the SHEIKO new school. The early childhood component of SHEIKO as well. We've had lots of discussion with that. We've done a lot of field trips to sort of kick the tires on some other kinds of things. And we're really excited about the progress to date, and we want to be able to share that with you. From a timing standpoint, we're working on bid packs, and a bid pack is to try to get a jump start on construction. And the first bid pack is going to be foundations. We need to build the foundations and the sort of the footprint of the building so that we can start with utilities and all of those kinds of things. We're also working with our engineers on long lead items. A long lead item in particular is like transformers and switchgear that you need to operate the building. And right now, I think, Jamie, they're like 52 weeks out or something. They're incredible.
No, it's almost approaching 2 years now on.
Is it 2 years on that?
Yes.
See, I'm out of touch with it, but, so we need to pre-order some of those kinds of pieces so that it's here available and we're not just waiting for those kinds of things. You know, when we were here last in November, we went through a lot of different options that we had looked at back then. We honed in on these two drawings, which was the main level plan of SHEIKO and the upper level plan of SHEIKO. The existing SHEIKO building, you can hardly see it underneath here, but it's ghosted in right in this location. Walnut Lake Road is at the bottom of this drawing. North is on the top of this drawing. Conceptually, this is the play area, which is a nice sunny area, always full of nice sunlight going in. We did a lot of sun studies to make sure that the building was not shading the play area. We talked a lot about that. Right now, we are working with our landscape architect to actually hone in on what that playground is actually going to be. This was just a conceptual idea of what it could be. We're looking at ways to bring cars in, buses into the site, and do it so that we have real good separation and a seamless separation of pedestrians and vehicular traffic area. So you saw these back in, you probably don't remember that you saw them back in November, but this is where we were headed, and we had developed schematic design documents at that point. Our construction manager took those drawings, put numbers to them, we all reviewed those, and we moved forward with the next phase, which is the design development phase. So these were some drawings that you saw previously. I'll just put these down. We did some three-dimensional representations of what the building could look like. And we have some other ones to share with you tonight that we're gonna show on PowerPoint. You know, the building is gonna have a very fresh kind of a feel to it. It's much more upbeat. The instructional quality of the interior of the space. And Carrie will do a great job of talking about the philosophical ideas that we're looking at. And just to leave it in your mind, we were talking early on to really make the SHEIKO school a children's museum of Michigan. And you'll see, just keep that thought in mind, and when Carrie gets up here, she'll be able to really magnify that area. Design development, then we took all of these drawings and we had lots of discussions with individual groups. This particular one was the eye center area. You see all the scribbled notes that we took, but we did those just trying to give you a feel of the depth that we had gone through with all of the different groups within the school. So we took lots of notes and got a lot of good, rich information from everybody. We then followed that up with lots of three-dimensional kinds of drawings of what the interior spirit of the building could be. Those were some ideas on the eye center, and then this was a more three-dimensional cross-section through the eye center. But we did a lot of these kind of drawings, and I enjoy doing these as just kind of a freehand kind of an effort. And other ones that Carrie's putting up over on the other side. Let me just straighten this.
Thank you.
We looked at, you know, the gymnasium, we looked at the dining area, we looked at all of the different pieces of the puzzle that really go into a comprehensive school. We had great activity with the early childhood component of the building, and I'll show you where all of that falls in a second. But just wanted to give you a feel of the kinds of things that we look at during design development. I think there's just that one more drawing. This was just put it on down below. This was just a markup of working with our engineers, talking about how we're going to distribute ductwork within the school, where units should be located, make sure that they're screened properly so that we're not disturbing any neighbors to the north side of the site. We also looked then at revising some of those plans, just again giving you just a feel for some of the work that's been going on. And by no means is this all of it. This was just to give you a sense of everything that we've gone through. I want to devote a little more time on the site. We talked a lot about the site as during schematics, we had come up with a conceptual site option which really showed the separation of buses and automobiles. We had a good meeting with Blaine, and we talked about the logistics of arrival time and departure time. We also looked at the site in a lot more detail, and there's a traffic light at that site right now, and we want to be able to maintain that traffic light. It's really tough to move a traffic light to a new location. There's just a lot of hoops that you have to go through with all of the authorities. So we wanted to see, can we keep that light right where it is right now to simplify it and come up with a new a new layout for the site. So this is our current new site plan. That little circle that you see right there, that's the existing light that now exists. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Can you, maybe I should put it over here.
Move it.
Yeah, that way everybody can see it a little bit better. Is that better for you guys? So here's the existing traffic light on Walnut Lake Road. And we have a nice big loop coming into the site, and right now we're thinking that that would be the bus loop coming all the way through. And we have some parking that is inboard of that loop. And visitor parking would also be located in here at different time of the day when visitors are coming and the buses are there. We have another loop on this side. This is all the Early Childhood Center is located on the east side of the site. Remember, north is up, this is the east side and the west side. So we have a special loop for that happening. We have dedicated parking for the Early Childhood Center. And then for vehicular traffic, a lot of parent drop-off of this area. Parents can come in and they can circulate all the way around the building, which takes all of the traffic off of Walnut Lake Road. We don't have any backups on Walnut Lake. And there's a major entry at the north side of the site. We have another entry on the west side, and we have another entry on the east side. And those three entries will be the major entry points for kids coming in the morning and also for dismissal time, that all of the parents can be waiting and queuing up in that area. So this is a one-way loop coming back out to where the light is, and then at the light you can go either to the west or to the east. And if you're not going that way, you can bypass the light and you can go directly to the west and not have to go to where the light is. This is also an existing curb cut that is on the site right now, and there's another curb cut over on this end. And if you can see this, the parts that are grayed in, those are existing paving areas, so we're gonna make use of the base that is there right now and be able to build upon that. So that was
And the underground detention.
and the underground
That was
detention,
recently
which is all part of that. So, I mean, those are good things that the community has invested in that, and we want to be able to maintain as much of that as we possibly can. So this is a new site drawing that everyone has endorsed at this point, and we want to be able to, now we're working again on the playground, which is on the north side of the site. Main entry is right at the center of this area. There's no ambiguity about where do you enter for a visitor coming into the building, and I'll show you that in a plan in a second. And the same with the Early Childhood Center. We have a major entry happening right over on this side. We're gonna be having some spoils on the site once we do some excavation, and we would like to be able to build some mounds on there that the kids can actually use as a little sledding hill when the weather is appropriate to be able to do that. I think that's enough. We'll open it up to questions at the end. I'd like to just get through it all, and then we can put these all up, and if you have major questions on it, we can do that. So all of this has led us to the new floor plans. Do you want to put the upper one over here? Thank you. And let me take you through the details of the building. You know, the overall concept of the building has really been maintained all the way through the design effort. I'll take you through the major spaces. We have this is the administrative area right here at the ground floor. And there's an entry, there's a secure vestibule so that visitors have to come in. It's all glassed in and present their credentials, and then they gain access into the office area. And then from there, they're free to get into the heart and soul of the building. So this is all administrative area right in here. Large conference room, reception, principal's office, a copy center, a clinic with a restroom, and some other itinerant office spaces are part of that complex. Students arriving would come in this entry or this entry, and they can either go up the stairs to the second level of the building, or they can circulate right on the main level. They also have an elevator right here, so if someone is physically challenged, there's an elevator access for everybody. Once the kids are in the school, these doors get locked off. And those are not entry doors anymore. They're only there for the students in the morning, or if there's a public event going on that's more controlled. All visitors then have to come in to the main office area, produce their appropriate credentials, and then they can gain access into the building from a safety standpoint. As we circulate in, all of this area that you see here is open collaboration area. That's a 2-story high space. And Carrie will explain a little bit more about the functioning of how that's going to work. The whole idea is, again, this children's museum, a lot of interaction happening in these spaces. This is not just, it's circulation, but it's also program space for genuine instruction happening within that area. These are classrooms on the main floor. This is kindergarten, 1st grade, 2nd grade, and 3rd grade, and then upstairs we have 4th and 5th grade happening. There's 4 classrooms per grade level, so these are the kindergarten, 1st grade, 2nd grade, 3rd grade, 4th grade, and 5th grade are on the 2nd level. Each classroom, pair of classrooms, has a interstitial space which has all of their cubbies, storage, general storage, also has restrooms as part of that, and also as an added benefit, if there was a tornado warning, kids can go into this safe place and be able to, and there's doors, there's sliding doors that close that area off so that it's a totally safe environment for the children that are associated with that area. We have a lot of discussion on special needs students, both standalone special areas plus resource centers for different kinds of pull-out programs to be able to accommodate all of the student population within the school. So this is all general classrooms. There's special needs at these areas, closely aligned with where the administrative center is and also where the entry is. Classrooms again. On this side, there's teacher planning center. There's music studio. There's an art studio with support spaces in between. There's large group restrooms here to associate with any public events that would be going on within the school. Gymnasium area with dedicated storage. Dining center with a stage, and again, storage both for before and after school programs and also for the dining function itself. There's the servery, kitchen area, mechanical equipment, and then another teacher planning center. We have 4 teacher planning centers in the building, 2 on the main floor and then 2 at the upper level as well. Let me take you through the early childhood component. Main entry is over here. We have an administrative center that is dedicated for the early childhood program, right at this corner and right at the entry. And again, a very similar situation. We have a secure vestibule, and then from there being buzzed into the office area, and then from there having access into the school. All of the classrooms in the early childhood portion are exactly the same as the rest of the building. We have pairs of classrooms, we have restrooms and cubby areas that are associated with those pairs of class areas. That's what this is indicating. Then we have a large gross motor activity center right here with access directly to the outdoors, and we have an interactive play area just for the younger children that is right in this location. Oh, the site plan again, but
Over.
thank you. Right here. This is right in that area is the play area for special, for the early childhood center of the building. We have space for the young fives that'll be in this building as well. And then we have a lot of other miscellaneous activity spaces within the collaboration space, but we also have storage areas and some of the other kinds of things that we absolutely need to function the building. Upstairs, let me go back. Right at the center, right here, we have 2 learning stairs. And we call them the grand stairs. There's 2 of them. If you're familiar with the new middle school, there's that learning stair that's in the eye center. We actually have 2 of those right at the heart and soul of the school. We have a big video screen up above that area with 9 video monitors, so we can get one large image or individual images on that screen as well. We have a slide right here. I think I showed you pictures of that the last time, where from the upper level, kids can actually, or staff members can take that slide down, but it just becomes another playful area. We talked a lot during our visioning sessions about movement. Movement was really important to allow kids to be able to be kids and be able to move freely, but have good line of sight from adult supervision all the way through. And I think that's certainly happened. Another thing that we talked a lot about was the need for natural light in all instructional spaces. And every instructional space has natural light. And it's really, from a sustainability standpoint, the building is sited properly to allow southern light and northern light to come into these spaces, which are the good ones to be able to control. East and west are a little tougher from a control standpoint. So we feel real good from a sustainability standpoint. The upper floor includes, here's the elevator right here, stair, and then here's a better view of those the learning stairs and the slide. This is the eye center, and then right off of the eye center is a STEM laboratory, and then right from there, or a studio, and then right from there is an outdoor terrace, so that outdoor activities can happen directly from that instructional space, and it's up 1 level. That area, that terrace, also provides cover for the lower area where we have entry points. So we get some double duty out of that area. It's not just the canopy, but we're activating the top of that canopy for instructional use as well. These are some collaboration pods where special activities can happen up on the 2nd level as well. We have one here, we have one here. These hallways, they're really more balcony areas overlooking the collaboration area down at the 1st level. And these are wide enough to be able to have some furniture out there. We even talked about a porch swing, having just some different kinds of seating options for kids to be able to benefit from. Having video monitors as well, sporadically placed. We have teacher planning at the 2 ends, and then these little teacher pod areas, which are wonderful views for out, so that a couple of teachers want to get together to do some collaborative thinking or work together. They have that capability to be able to do that. We also have a series of resource office areas with itinerant staff that is really spread out and decentralized within the office or within the building, so that they provide the easy access for their kids, and they're closer to their clients, which are the kids, rather than cloistered all together within an office area. So we're excited so these are the design development drawings, the floor plan drawing that are part of that big roll of drawings that I showed you, that we're getting pricing on right now at this point in time. Any questions on any of this? And then we're gonna switch and do a little bit on PowerPoint, give you a little further.
First, I can see that you put a lot of time into this, that was a group is.
Yep.
And I have several questions, but I'm just gonna ask one and then allow my fellow board members to
Okay.
have their opportunity to ask. And I was looking at your site plan, and I see the parking in the front there.
Yep.
How many parking spots is it?
About 135 altogether,
Okay.
with including the early childhood center part. 100 was our goal for that, and plus, if there's an event going on in the dining area or the gymnasium, the roadway that goes all the way around the building is wide enough that we can do parallel parking along there, so we can actually magnify and get more parking on the site. And that was another goal that we wanted to be able to have, so that, even though that's a one-way loop, it's wide enough that we can still have a parking lane and a passing lane.
I'll let someone else.
I'm gonna springboard on that really quick, only because you opened up a question with that.
Sure.
And the fire department is good with you doing that?
Yes, we need a loop around the buildings, Carol.
Right, but
We
if you have it
absolutely-
parallel parked up for
Yeah,
an
it's
event,
still wide
it's
enough to
still,
be able to
that's what I
get,
didn't, I'm
Yep.
looking at it from way
it's
across.
it's still wide enough to be able to get a truck
The
through,
fire
through that area,
department, okay.
yes.
My
it is.
question had more to do though with music.
Okay,
And you mentioned that there was a music room,
yes,
and you sort of said vocal, I believe, but we're now having this fifth grade instrumental music, and
Right.
will there be adequate space for, and like lockers for instrument storage
yes,
and
and
for?
I didn't point all of those little fine points out, but we do. We have string storage, we have instrument storage, and we also have specialty lockers for the kids in 4th and 5th grade that bring an instrument to school, that they have lockers on the second level, which is where the 4th and 5th graders would be housed. So we talked a lot about that, Blaine, you know, we had a lot of discussion about it, because we understand the richness of your musical arts program within your entire district, but at your elementary school as well.
And the last follow-up question that I had to do with the early childhood.
Yes.
How many students would that
I think
segment?
it was eight general classrooms at 16, what's 8 times 16?
128.
128, thank you. Sorry,
I
128, I
Hundred
mean,
and 28 kids?
kids, yeah.
GSRP just went up to allow for 20, I don't know if that will last or not, we'll see, but
But
it's about half of what, our program is currently under 200 right now, and the goal is to have a good amount of space at the south side and a good amount of space at the north side.
At the north side, yeah.
So,
So we were
128
looking,
is a
you know,
little
125 to 130 kind of a number, and we're right now, the rooms are larger, they're large enough to accommodate 20 children, we're just using the 16.
So I was
Sorry.
just gonna say, if we do end up with universal pre-K down the road, this will work.
Well, it depends if the demand is all gonna come to West Bloomfield. I mean, with universal pre-K, there's gonna be expansion of, you're gonna see more Montessori, you're gonna see more privatization, because that money is up for grabs, so,
Well, we'll see how that plays out,
yeah.
because that's public money and it needs to be spent in public schools, and we need to grow fighting.
I agree.
So that cannot go to private entities.
Well, that's how it
That's
is.
a constitutional
That's how the
problem.
budget is right now.
Right, I understand, but that's a constitutional problem.
We all know that.
Can you limit preschool to residents only? I don't know, that's a question.
Well, we could, but again, I just don't know what then the number would be. I would hope that every district then would offer their own universal, program, trying to keep their own kids. for
I
God's
mean,
sake.
that's where
We'll
we,
say the bond
right, yeah,
program, we decided on 8 on the north
side
side,
and
8 on the
on the
south
south
side.
side. But, I mean, what I would tell you is that the design of Doherty will start this September. And if that changes, then it might need an adjustment to how we design Doherty. I mean, if it becomes universal, I mean, we have time because Doherty's still.
Sure, I get it, but I mean, I'm just trying to be forward thinking, like, what is our in-district, historically, our in-district need? Just take the kindergarten numbers and maybe, because hopefully we'll get those same kids, you know, a year earlier.
Come here for preschool.
Yeah, it's around 300 elementary, 330, it just depends per year, so if you have
But
space.
that's not just in-district.
That's
Yeah, take out school of choice,
So-
how many would be in-district? I guess that's what I'm saying,
Minus
is if
30%.
push came to shove,
Yeah.
you know,
Right,
we would
yeah,
have to limit it, but
Yeah.
I'm just trying
Yeah.
to make sure that we're at least, you know.
The other thing, and I did not make mention of it, but it's a little hard to see here, but we're planning also that if we needed to put an addition on the building, we have space to be able to do that,
Got the
right over on
hooks.
this side too. So we're planning on that. So we're gonna make sure we don't have utilities running through that area so that it becomes available space in the future to hedge that. And the dining room and the gym are sized appropriately to be able to accommodate that extra student population, if it comes to that.
I think we have a question over here.
You wanna ask her now?
Mom has a question.
Yeah, I, remember from my school, when we started with the new teachers and the new students. And I just wanted to mention that you can't do it all at once, because the kids can't even handle it. You have to take a lot of time to show them and let them explore the different areas. And they feel
Right.
more at home about it.
Absolutely,
So
absolutely.
sometimes that's, you have to kind of realize that they're
Yeah.
younger and they can't all get it.
Yes, exactly.
Small
Exactly.
world for small learners, yeah.
Right. And the building is designed as such to keep it, even though it appears to be spread out, there's really smaller learning communities that are established here, 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 and then upstairs as well. So that, you know, we're trying to keep grade levels together as well, but it's still flexibility. If you had 5 first grades one year and 3 first grades another year, there's a way to be able to manage that in a very easy way within the school. We talked a lot about that too, from a curriculum standpoint, as far as, you know, I mentioned 4 first grades, 4 second grades. That's great if it works that way, but you might need that flexibility, and that's where having a more linear instructional spaces helps that, to be able to expand or contract.
Thank
Anything
you.
else we'll go through?
You guys wanna
Yep, there's a-
watch the rest of it, or you have something about the floor plans itself? Yes, no? You're just looking at me, not responding.
Well, you know, I was saying for art, I want to be respectful, so.
I had questions about the grounds
Okay.
and security, surprise, surprise. So we can either talk about that now, or we can talk about it after the presentation.
I don't know if that's a presentation.
If it's about the grounds, maybe we do it now,
Okay.
because I'm kind of going more
Yeah.
into your
Yeah, or if you have a, you know, if it does.
So this right here
Yeah.
is the road from our neighborhood that goes into the property. The police department is right here, right? The city just put in an emergency entrance from their parking lot to this road right here. This, as I understand it, is an emergency route if it was necessary for police and possibly fire to get into this property here, okay? So I see the playground here. Right now, you can see the path,
Yeah, you
right?
can see the pathway
That
underneath it, right,
is there right
right,
now.
yep.
So just make sure that there's some way that police vehicles or other emergency vehicles can get down to this road. second, this road right here, which goes around the building, I understand why it's necessary.
Right.
But at certain times of the day, there's gonna be kids crossing this road to get to the playground.
Yeah, right, they're actually coming out right in one location, and that's not when vehicles are going to be
That's
lined
the
up.
point right
That's the
there,
point.
is when this should be closed off.
Yeah,
at the time
and we
the
talked
kids
about
don't know.
gating those things off so that no one can really travel through that area.
And then the last thing, you've got two entrances here for the kids
Kids
to
entering.
be coming in, right?
Right, yeah.
Ideally, you would have one, so like after that, you have the one entrance, right?
Yeah.
From a security standpoint, you wanna have as few entrances as possible and then have it controlled as tightly as you can.
Right.
Possibly having an SRO there at the same time.
Correct, correct.
I was looking at this, it does look like there's probably line of sight between the two entrances and the vestibule.
Yes.
That's helpful,
Yes.
but again, that's
Yeah,
something else. that
we
needs to be
have
discussed later.
we have those two entries in the mornings to be able to disperse the kids and not have a bottleneck in one area.
I
Once they're
understand.
in, those doors get closed off.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
And we are aware of this, and Jamie and I, we need to interface on that whole thing. And again, this is very conceptual back here, and if we need to actually have a vehicle pathway through, we'll work that into.
We've talked about
to
an
the
emergency
playground.
bollard, so you can't have vehicles come through there
Exactly,
unless it's
yeah.
an emergency.
Right, right,
Removable box.
Removal.
yeah. Anything else from, yes?
So one of the things, I know we talk about collaboration with the community, but, we wanna do that, I think, in all ways. So when we think about Walnut Lake Road, that is a thoroughfare where our West Bloomfield community, it's a road that we use, all the time. So when we think about, our school bell times and the ability for drop off, there's always going to be parents as well as buses that decide to go in the morning. So is there a plan, and have we planned out, how much time are we allotted? We talked about the traffic light, that we can't move it. Can we do something with the timing of it, red, green, yellow? And will we let the community know? So as we go around the circle, and we plan for the amount of time that it would take a parent to drop off a kid.
And to
Yeah,
and to make the
go
loop,
all the way around.
make the circuit.
Yeah, and make the
Yeah.
circuit, then, how is Walnut Lake Road being configured into that, with the community as well? So, because again, we wanna have a beautiful school, but we don't want the parents or the kids or the community upset before they even get there, because we have a nightmare getting into the school and getting out of the school in the morning.
Mhm.
So what's the peaceful approach when we think about a timing perspective, of how long it's gonna take those parents, drop out those kids, keep moving on Walnut Lake Road, letting the community go through Walnut Lake Road at all the same time? What does that look like, and have we planned for it?
We plan for it from a vehicular standpoint, but we can have our civil engineers, Spalding Decker, can actually do some time studies on what that would be, and that might inform what that light, the duration on that light. We'll have to look into that.
Yeah.
It's good that you're bringing that up now, because we're not ready to go out for bids yet on the building. We're still looking at
Right.
other pieces of the puzzle, so we'll certainly take that into account.
And it might be, I don't know if you widen it or what you do with it,
Yeah.
but we do want to have, again, a continuous flow and have the community feel as though they're part of the
Right.
school by getting through Walnut Lake
Right.
Road.
The good thing is that we've taken all of that excess traffic off of Walnut Lake Road with as much paving as we're providing on site, which is really good, because we've observed what goes on out there, not just at that school, but at a lot of the schools where it's really tough, the morning in particular, or the afternoon when people are picking up and then everybody comes at the exact same time and you're looking for a spot.
And just one more question in regards to the cubbies. I know nowadays lots of parents are now packing lunches versus using the school lunch program, if you will. So with the best as we can with the cubbies, are we, planning for a good appropriate size, or we got snow
We are.
cans, and we've got lunch boxes, and we got
Snow
snacks? And I know, I don't even know if they wear them anymore, but.
Yeah,
They do.
We're accommodating.
You know, it used to be a time when they did, but, you know, making sure that those
Yes.
cubbies are the appropriate size and
Yeah.
also will include perhaps, you know, in a lunch pail or maybe something else so a child can feel as though they
Yeah,
have a home.
each child will have that private space
Yeah,
for coats, boots, book bag, lunchbox, those kinds of things, all at a height that is appropriate for the kids. And a lot of the field trips that we went on, we looked at a lot of those kinds of pieces of the puzzle that we've incorporated now into the best thinking.
and my last question, would be the canopy and the safety of the canopy. So again, we talk about outdoor spaces, and I think it's wonderful, so I think it's great. So from a safety perspective, when we look about the wall and the kids and, you know, we don't want a loop situation, right?
Right.
So what type of safety mechanisms do we have for the canopy
And
area?
I think I'll show you on this 3D, we have a glass railing that actually goes up to 5 feet tall.
Okay,
From a code standpoint, you only have to go up to 3'6", 42 inches. But we're making it more of a windscreen, but it becomes a safety barrier as well. So we take.
and that's for the kids, we don't want them to fall off, but we also don't want anybody coming on it either, right?
No,
From a
they
safety
really,
perspective,
they
too.
really can't get, and we're looking at that glass wall going up and actually slanted so that someone cannot do what you're,
All right.
we have Officer Connor over here too, to make sure that they can't get up into that upper area. Put you on the spot.
All right, Carrie, you wanna start?
All right, Carrie?
Thank
You
you.
said probably
Yep.
you know, but I think Mike, did Nick have more site questions as well?
Yeah, thank you.
I'll defer to him
Oh, I'm
first.
sorry.
so-
Yep.
I didn't see it either, so.
Respect for everyone's time, and I appreciate that. You said a word like, you said underground.
Detention or retention, that's stormwater. We have to.
Okay, I just wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's stormwater, we have to retain water
Kids get in trouble.
and then slowly release it. And then slowly release it out. So there is a underground system right now that we wanna be able to utilize, and we're gonna add on to that system.
So, there is a little elephant in the room, that is that the taxpayers not that long ago paid to repave that site. And I'm glad we'll be able to reuse some of the substrate.
Yes.
Some,
Yes.
but not all. So I will tell you, that's a concern for me, that, you know, we're putting stuff in, we're ripping stuff out, and we're
Yeah.
doing it again. Just gonna, I have to say that.
Okay.
How many acres did you have in the back of the old building, behind the old building, versus how many acres are left for play area now?
You know,
Cause it looks like maybe half, you've lost half of it,
I
I think.
don't have that figure off the
Just
top of my
ballpark me,
head.
I mean, I'm just kinda looking at where the building is there, I think you've lost more than half of it. And I guess that bothers me that we've lost, cause those were always soccer fields, and you could, you know, those kids could go kick a ball, and I just feel like this is so structured that open field is gone for the kids, and the community, and, you know, they used to be able, they could go play t-ball, they could do, I don't know, whatever they did back there, they could do it. And I feel like we've lost it, and I appreciate your design, but I also appreciate open space
Sure.
that's not
Yeah.
structured, so kids can run, and they can play tag, and they can do,
Right.
you know, whatever.
We'll certainly, as we're walking or working with our landscape architect, this is an enormous amount of space that is dedicated to all play space. And I think that we'll be able to have some open space as part of that for kick a ball, be able to throw and have a catch. And we'll make sure that we get
Yeah,
some of that going.
Because if you look at where the old building is shadowed in there, I mean, all of that now is
Yeah.
play space. It's all open back there.
This is the,
Right, right, yeah, but so that all of
Right.
that behind it, you know, that was a lot, so it does look like
Yeah.
you're losing half of your open space.
yeah.
And again, I just would like to have some thoughtful, because
Okay.
I think the community's also looking for that too. There's
Okay.
not a lot of open space,
Okay,
so.
good point.
It is important to remember though that the building is double the square footage. I mean, we're building a massive building that is gonna house preschool, I asked the same thing though, Carol, because on the drawing, it looks small, like but it really is a big space. When you see the Scotch and electrical playgrounds
I
done,
understand, but I'm not seeing a lot of open space.
Yeah.
That's the point I'm trying
Yeah.
to make, is if you go to that site now, there is
Yeah,
a whole
there's
lot of
there-
open space.
There's a lot in the back.
There's a lot,
There is.
and those kids they can run, they can do
Right.
whatever, the fun runs, they
Right.
can do all of it there,
Right.
and I'm not seeing it here.
Okay.
And look, I look at plans all day, and this is not, I mean,
Okay.
there is a huge difference here.
Yeah.
but the
In
playground.
how that the land is
SHEIKO
being
is very, I mean, right now it's very sad.
I understand,
Yeah,
but
it
it's
is.
also,
It's sad.
It's
I mean,
sad.
Mike can speak to that, Lord,
Need
about
some
it.
tender loving
Yeah,
care.
we are
That's
allowed
right,
that
that's right.
asphalt, that is the asphalt that's there now. Cause
It
the
is.
building is butted up right against the
Yeah,
building.
this is all existing asphalt right here.
Yeah.
So we're making use of all of that, but we're
Which was the
using all,
intention
the
from the
whole
beginning.
base. We're using the whole base of it, and then just putting a new topping over it.
And the reason that a lot of that got done is one, to separate the cars and the buses, but two, because of the detention, because our
Right.
classrooms were getting flooded.
Right.
And yeah,
Needed
sometimes
to-
they still do get flooded, but
Yeah.
it's a lot less than it
Yeah.
used to be.
Yeah, yeah. But that's a good point. This is all existing paving, and this is all existing paving over on
And
this side.
the building, it's really against the outline of the building.
It is, yeah, because the building,
Yeah, the building right there, yeah.
yeah.
Right.
But good comments, yeah.
Wait, Art was waiting and then he could go.
Just wanted to say, to Carol's point, which is a good one, if you go there during the day, and I believe Dwayne can confirm this, it's the first half, yeah, we're gonna lose half of that green space, right? But it's the first half of that green space that's actually being used by the kids during the day. The rest is just pure grass and trees in the back that only gets used by third-party organized sports on the weekends and only a couple.
We get complaints about.
Right, exactly, only a couple months out of the year. So, as long as there is enough of that space in the background for the playgrounds that matches what's actively being used, that's really the most important thing. So,
I care about what our kids have, I don't care about renting it out to these third parties.
He's
I
saying
just
the
think
same
it's-
thing.
we say that's what
He's
we
saying the
are.
same thing, that's exactly what he said.
Because there's a lot of times that, but again, I just still want to just make sure there's open space, and I think we're on the same page with that.
That's
I want
exactly
nice playgrounds, but I want open space and find that sweet spot.
I think it's hard to tell on that drawing because it's not really to scale for the lot. Is it?
Yeah, it
That
is.
way it is?
Yeah,
I mean, it seems so small, like, when you show bigger pictures, it looks a lot bigger.
Yeah, it's-
Like, I don't know, maybe you'll show it on the thing. Deborah, do you have something you want to talk about?
Just two things actually. First thing is the universal preschool. We talked a little bit about that, so I'm glad to hear that you said that we do have space if we need to build out. And looking at a universal preschool, that could be a revenue generator for us as a district, if we continue to grow it within the neighboring communities. I don't want to lose sight of making sure we build a building that's so tight that we're losing sight of revenue we can earn, from a program that might be coming. So I'm glad that we have, that space that we could
Right,
build out
that we
if
could build,
necessary.
if we had to, right?
Because that's revenue we could definitely use. And then also I wanted to, make sure, just acknowledge Karen, you did a great job on flipping all those boards.
Oh, thank you. It was a little clumsy.
Just wait for the good job.
So I just wanted to say that was some
Yeah.
good board handling on your part. I wanted to make sure that I acknowledged that because I was
Yeah.
watching you from there. So I wanted to just say, you go girl on that. So that was good work.
I also think, did you mention that like the transitional kindergarten is next to the preschool? I think I heard you say
I
that.
said the young five
The young
area,
five,
and
so-
it is, it's
So
right,
it
it's
literally,
right,
you could move like young
It's right
fives over
adjacent.
and add on to the
Yeah.
preschool, is what it sounds like to me.
yeah. It's-
Yeah.
Yeah, it's right.
Alright, so it gives you another
It's
pass.
right up in here.
Okay.
Yeah.
You could add on the other side if you ever really had to and shift everything over.
That's what I was asking.
And the chair and all that.
We could.
Yeah,
No,
yes.
we could.
Roll for the future.
I'm just
The
curious.
important thing is that we have some land to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
All right,
turn it
are we
over to
good?
Teachers also.
I'm gonna take care.
Yes, yeah, let me
Take
do,
care of it.
here's a couple of,
It's all starting.
concept renderings of the exterior. I'm gonna start with that, just to get a little better feel of the building.
I know, there are handouts.
Yeah, this is all, you know, same scale as this.
I know, but it's.
I know, but we can't, I can't.
You can't tell from
I
that.
can read it, but yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Walnut Lake Road is down at the bottom of here. Here's that loop for buses coming in and out. The main entry over here, in the morning, kids would come in this one, and then those get locked off, and then the main entry is right at the center. Because we're coming in right at that point. The early childhood component, canopy right here, this is the new entry for early childhood with their loop, so that we can drop off along this sidewalk area. Staff members can either receive the kids, or parents can park and actually bring their child into that component of the school. And then play area here for the early childhood part of the building. We're looking at a brick base, and we've looked at, how many samples did we look at the other day in our office?
Probably
15, 20 different samples. And we're honing in on a couple, and then we're also looking at metal panels for the upper part of the building, and we're looking at colors of that as well. And originally we were thinking sort of a silvery color, and now we're thinking that we might want to warm that up just a little bit. So I've gotten a lot more samples. They just came in today. So I'm going to be looking at those. We'll have another session, we'll look at those again, and then we're gonna find some buildings in the area that we can go and actually look at, so we see it. There's a couple more shots. Here's a view of the early childhood play area that you see over here. You see the entry in on the left-hand side of that screen. And then another one which is a little closer up, give you a little better perspective of how that looks, that drop-off point coming into the school. The
So is
stair.
those, I'm sorry, is those doors where like the kids would enter, or is that to go into the
This
office?
is where the kids would enter over here, and then these doors are the entry points, yeah, coming into the school. The stairwells, glassing those as well, so that they're not just closed off, so that there's a lot of natural light and good visibility. All of the glass on the main level is going to be laminated glass from a safety standpoint. Laminated glass is like your windshield on your car. It's actually 2 layers of glass and a plastic sheet in between that's clear, so that you can still get vision out, but you can't really break through that.
All the way around the building, or just?
All the way around on the first level. Yes.
Hoping the same
Yeah.
one. I can use pending DD.
And then this is just a view of the north side of the building. This is the stage area, and we're looking at windows. It's like a big bay window. The back of the stage is a bay window, and when it's dining, those windows are open, so you get a nice view and bring in a lot of nice natural light. When there's a performance going on, we have electrically operated drapery that comes down from a pocket up in the ceiling. So it closes off the window area so that you can use it for a presentation mode. So we're trying to enlighten, we've all been in dining spaces that are windowless, and they're kind of deadly when they're windowless, especially when food is part of what you're trying to show off within that space. There's a service area in the back here, and I think we need a screen wall on that. As I look at this now, we really need a screen wall to blank that off. And then there's mechanical units behind. This is a louvered screen. Behind here are all mechanical units, and the screen is there to help noise and also to shield it from the neighbors on the north side of the building. All right?
We're doing questions now.
Just a comment.
Sure.
So it's a beautiful building, there is just no question about it, it is gorgeous. I encourage you to warm it up. That does not tell me if I'm a, young mom, and this
Yeah.
is the first time my babies are leaving
Oh,
my
yeah,
side.
yeah.
This does not say I'm a warm, inviting place
Yeah.
to bring your babies to.
Yeah.
It says it feels very cold to me.
Okay,
And so I would encourage you to find whatever way, and I'm sure landscaping and all that, of course,
yeah,
will
but
also
just
help,
the color,
but
just
but
the
even
color
colors
on,
as
color
you-
on the metal.
yeah,
that
like
they're-
that metal, that
Yeah.
silver, I think
And we had that discussion in our office
Yeah.
just last week,
Yeah.
and those comments were near and dear to all of us, and we heard it loud and clear. That's why
Yeah.
we pulled together a lot of other, more samples to.
Good,
for
good,
that-
because,
for
yeah,
that.
I mean, but it's beautiful, it's just, it feels very cold.
Okay.
So
We'll,
you want the babies,
we'll warm it up.
bring us your babies.
We'll warm it up.
So,
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay,
You have some-
all right?
Yeah, I do. And just a couple of questions. If I look at this particular slide, and I think two previous ones, when we think about, right there, so the space that we're talking about for our youngest learners, so that looks, again, easily, someone can easily get inside of that. So how do we, I don't know, I'm just looking at it from this perspective, because if we look at it from here, someone easily driving by can certainly see this play area and see all our young children out. So again, it's a safety in, safety out kind of perspective. And looking at green grass for them to play on as well. Trying to find a balance of where that is, again, from a safety perspective, keeping our children safe from any predators that, wanna come in. And also making sure that they have a wonderful life when they look on the outside too. But since that's in the very front of the building where there's vehicles and all of that,
It's right
yeah,
there.
I'm just trying to figure out, while those doors are locked shut.
Pretty far from here, but yeah, right here.
Well, no, I mean, if you
Yeah.
decide to drive up on the premise, cause I'm looking at a
Yeah.
bus right there,
Yep,
and then the play structure is right there.
yeah.
So how are we, striking that balance between keeping them safe and happy and protected, from anyone who can just drive us, we're at yellow school buses? What do we
Now,
have?
obviously having fencing is part of the security measure, and some cameras out there as well, but there's always going to be adult supervision of those play areas. Lane, right, I mean,
Absolutely, yeah.
they're not just a free-for-all for kids to be out there unsupervised, so. And there's discrete entry points to the play area that, again, get locked off when it's not in use, and you can't really get into the building from any of those locations.
All right, and maybe a possibility of some grass there too,
Yeah, and again, this is very conceptual in this area as we work into it, and I think you saw drawings on the ones that we're doing over at Gretschko and Scotch right now that have a combination of soft surface, hard surface, and these will certainly have that as well. We took a little license with our renderings at this point.
And the next slide, again, it just seemed very open from the next one over, from the play area that, anyone can just get to it, and it might be okay, I'm just posing
Yeah.
the question, so
Yeah.
we can make sure we keep
Right.
our kids safe.
And we need to think about fencing on the site if that's something that we need to do all the way around the site or
That's with your
not.
playground and landscape architect.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. So let's get-
All right, keep going.
Okay, so I'm gonna kind of give you an idea of the concept of the whole building, and I'm gonna keep a good pace, just in respect of everyone's time. Please stop me if I'm going too quickly, and then we can do questions at the end. But I'm gonna rewind just a little bit and quickly go through all of the steps we took, and John covered a lot of those, but all of the steps we took to really inform what we wanted in this building. So there were a lot of field trips, and while the field trips tell us what we like, it also tells us what we don't like, which is just as important. But these are some good features, positive features that we liked. We established our guiding principles, which is in the program booklet that you're gonna be getting, and so we've been filtering all design elements right through these 10 guiding principles.
Do we have that in November?
Yes, our
Okay, I
design
do
principles
remember
in
that.
November.
It's in the
Yes.
booklet.
Nothing changed on those.
Correct.
Okay.
So we had a lot of curriculum integration discussion, so thinking of that large collaboration collaboration space in the middle. We wanna make sure that it's real estate that's used very well, used efficiently. And so we called, actually Johanna and Scott called a bunch of teachers to the table to offer insight and feedback and ideas of how we can best use that space. So there were 2 very enlightening sessions there. I did an exercise where the teachers were able to actually, I gave them a blank floor plan of the space and they were actually able to sketch it out. So that was a really insightful experience for us as the design team. That's that teacher feed forward. You can see some snaps of those. So all of this, and then I started to think, how do we wrap all of this into kind of a one-liner concept? And this is something that I thought of that really encapsulates everything very well, and it's the Great Laker experience, because we know we want a Michigan-themed building, and West Bloomfield is the Lakers, so a good play on words, but I thought that this was really a great phrase to capture everything. So keep that in mind as I go through here. So this is just a very conceptual mood board, and really how I started to develop the color palette of the building. Something that the teachers wanted to focus on as learning opportunities is the changing of seasons and weather. And so that's where the colors on the left-hand side, those are colors that are going to be integrated through the building. We don't want anything that's too primary or too stimulating, so we go with some of those softer colors, but those are all the colors that you see in nature through the 4 seasons of Michigan. You'll see we're going to address Petoskey stones in there and the Michigan State wildflower as well. And that brings me here, and I can thank John over and over for laying out the building from east to west, but it really fits with our concept in this main way. So the west side of the building is going to be the dune side, and the east side is going to be the port side. So you're thinking of Michigan actually as a state and how that holds true. And then the second level is going to be the Upper Peninsula. So you're going to see how we really hone into those concepts. So starting at the Welcome Center, just some conceptual images here. I'm highlighting learning opportunities here, which was the first phase, and what is so important to the bond team and even for those guiding principles is that everything is a learning opportunity. And so in the Welcome Center, we're thinking of doing a Petoskey stone map with Michigan, very relevant, Petoskey stones. The kitchenette backsplash in the main office to look like, the iron and the mining in Michigan. Some cherry blossom pendants over the welcome desk. And incorporating a lot of wood into the space as well for warmth. So the welcome desk, we'll have, we've showed finishes a lot as well, but part of the welcome desk is going to be, a resin panel in the front of the Michigan State wildflower. And we talked about with the team as well as making sure that there is interchangeable graphics and plaques. So when you see an element that's a learning opportunity, you know it's a learning opportunity. So next, heading into, and actually I'm thinking it might be better if I have this up so I can start to highlight some of these spaces and plan. So after the Welcome Center, we head into our main corridors, which we're calling Under the Boardwalk. So these are Under the Boardwalk here. And this is our flooring concept. So the flooring there, we're planning right now to be terrazzo and a really cool nature element design in there. So thinking of a lake shore, we have, this color being our sand, and then we have the different blues for the water, and then we can integrate some fish in there. It's a great thing about terrazzo. It is a very, very durable material, but you can also do almost anything with it, from color to pattern. And then we are really paying attention to what we do on the walls in there, because we do want to highlight these spaces and not signify them as just corridors. They're a big focal point for the space. So continuing our learning opportunities there. So having a graphic on this side, having to do with the port side, with ships and shipping. And then on the west side, we have our sand dunes, so we can focus on pebbles, sand, silt, and erosion. And again, those are all teaching opportunities, especially those that tie into science. These are some elevations to show you that concept a little bit more. And a key thing is we're using architectural materials in a very designed way. So these panels right here with the wave shape, these are acoustical panels, which are gonna help acoustics in the space. And on the opposite side, these are FRP panels. FRP is a very, very durable material, but we can do a custom digital print of those, so that becomes a learning opportunity as well. And then you can see on the bottom left, we have some sensory wall panels as well, because those are near the special education classrooms. But sensory experiences for all students, mainly. And then the concept is gonna be the same on the port side as well. That graphic will be different. So now under the boardwalk, and this is where it really comes into play. So the ceiling concept is gonna be a wood ceiling. So that image, you're looking at it as if you're looking up. So that's why we have the wood ceiling there that really signifies in that concept image under the boardwalk.
That's sweet.
And that's all white oak, which is
Yes.
natural to.
Yes, thanks for mentioning that.
It's really cool. That'll warm up.
Yes. So we traveled under the boardwalk. Any ideas what this is called? The boardwalk. So we get to the boardwalk where we have right in this main space where we have our learning stairs. Again, concepts here as well. Our finishes, very natural colors. The horizontal of the learning stairs is going to be carpet, and the vertical would be a wood look material. Doing a specific ceramic tile behind the drinking fountains in these areas as well. The exposed ceiling construction, we're gonna think about painting a sky blue, again, tying in that natural element there as well. And then thinking about as a concept in that main space of doing a sun for lighting and acoustics. And then on the sides of the learning stair, this is a concept that we're looking into, is some of these, cubbies and nooks, which can actually signify, the porthole of a lighthouse or the porthole of a ship. So on both ends of the state, we have relevance there. So the big collaboration area, I have some images here for inspiration. We have a visual of our carpets on the lower right-hand side. Our exposed ceiling color. We're definitely gonna have acoustical wall panels in that wave shape. Those are definitely gonna be needed, but doing a wave to tie into the design. And focusing heavily on graphics as learning opportunities. And another very important element in this space is going to be furniture. So we know we're going to be using furniture to help divide the space up a little bit more, make it not feel so large to the learners, but also for book storage. That was a key takeaway when we talked to the teachers, is that books everywhere. Literacy is such a huge component in learning that we want to make sure it's on display everywhere. Here's a snapshot of some of the campfire areas these are our campfire areas right here. So thinking exactly of a campfire, we have some built-in benches on the surround there and a bench around that structural element that looks like a tree. We have some leaf baffles that are hanging there. That helps with acoustics, but definitely ties into the concept as well. So thinking of taking a class or 2 or 3 out to the space is going to be very, very helpful. And these millwork elements, they are built in, but they help anchor the space as well, because we're thinking of those young learners and how to make a large space feel a little bit smaller to them.
And that tree actually is a structural steel structure that's holding up that half-round collaboration area that we showed you on the second level.
Is there an alarm? Is there an alarm?
I think it's the AC.
Oh, I'm hearing a buzzer.
Here, I think, yeah. I think, turn it up.
I'll listen, keep going, Carrie.
Okay.
I'm listening.
So we were just in our collaboration areas and then our campfire areas. So now we're looking at the areas that are right in front of the classroom entrances. We're going to call those the front porch. So you go from the collaboration into the front porch area. On these, these surfaces, those are gonna be tackable and Velcro compatible panels, just like you have at Gretschko. That really puts student artwork on display, which is very, very important. Right next to the entrance to the classrooms, we'll have a window film. And on this shared wall here, we will have a marker board there as well, another, teaching and learning surface to really activate those front porch areas. There again as well, furniture is going to be really important there, so I put in some concepts to really address that.
Here, just leave it like this. You see where the restroom is right there? There's that other space right beyond. I didn't mention that. Those are itinerant office spaces that are, remember I mentioned that they were decentralized. There's a view of where they are, and they're decentralized along the entire area. So again, we have some built-in adult supervision of that whole collaboration area as well. But part of it is glassed in so that kids feel good going in there with a particular social worker or a psychologist.
Can I just ask a quick question? Is there any water refill stations except, I know I saw them, or you mentioned them at the cafeteria, but are there other places in the building?
There will be.
Okay, all right.
Right now, they don't.
Because I'm looking at the bathroom and the
but they
sinks.
should be, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Yes, we have them there, but we should have a couple more out in the,
That's what I'm
in the
wondering.
front porch area for water.
So just some concepts for those front porch areas. So thinking of the marker board between the classroom entrances. Really, we're looking at making those, kind of putting a graphic on those on the sides to, to spot each of the Michigan trees. So on the first level and the second level. So great learning opportunity there as well. There's that window film concept in the upper left-hand corner. Just keeping in mind all of the nature that the team really wanted us to focus on. So then we go into our learning studios. And just a snapshot, a concept image there as well, just orienting you around a learning studio. So you enter here, we have our glazing here, and then our teaching wall. We'll have storage and a window seat on the exterior wall. And then we have bulletin board surface on the back wall, and this is where you would enter that cubby space here. So we definitely talked a lot about what storage looks like in the classrooms, and more as I go through my profession, I'm learning that the kitchen cabinets are no longer very suitable for teachers and the materials that they need to store. So the teaching wall is actually going to be sliding marker boards with a tote storage system behind it. That's going to serve the teachers really well. And something I do want to add is in the cubby spaces, there is also upper cabinets. So above the cubbies, upper cabinets for extra teacher storage. So we're definitely keeping that in mind. Just some finishes there. So then we go into our cubby rooms, and we have our linoleum floor. This is the same product that you have at the high school, which is beautiful, and I loved how a product that you already have installed fits so well with the concept. And just our laminate storage for the cubbies, and then doing a really beautiful wall tile at the sink wall to continue our concept. So those are our lakeside landings.
That's for the children?
Yes, these are the cubby spaces.
Okay.
Yes, so the kids will be in there.
Just to say, are those sinks still at the end of the cubby space?
Yeah. Outside the bathroom?
Outside.
Yes.
Right here.
Yep.
Sinks.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's the tile wall.
Yes.
The point was, is these are safe rooms, so they have toilets and they have sinks, water, and toilets to use in case of emergency.
So when we go into the second floor, and you'll see this in just a moment, is we're kind of going up into copper country. So the second floor there, you would go from lakeshore landings on the first floor to copper coves on the second floor. So really the wall tile of the sink wall is going to change to have more of a copper visual. And then just some finishes for the bathrooms. We don't want to leave those out, but continuing our concept in there, even if it's a bathroom, but we still need a common space for them.
bathroom and then you can exit the bathroom to the cubby? Is that how?
Yeah, so to get to the bathroom, you go from the classroom into the cubby room real quick and right into the bathroom.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's access through the classrooms, is that what you're asking, Deborah?
Yeah, I just don't, I'm not getting that deal where the classroom and where you enter the
Instead of
cubby
having a
versus the
toilet in the
bathroom.
classroom, it's in the cubby room, so like they walk in. Is that
But
what
it's
it's
not in the hallway.
They can
Yeah.
store their stuff in the cubby area where.
So you go through the cubby first and then you go to the bathroom?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
But you have to go to the classroom first and then you go to the cubby. So if you wanted to go,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. So if you're in the learning studio, you go in the cubby room, then into the bathroom. If you're in the collaboration area, there are group bathrooms.
okay.
Yes.
Okay.
That's what you're getting at, yes. Yep.
Okay,
Mhm.
here we go. Thank you.
Yes,
Uh-huh.
oh, of course, thanks for asking that. So now, and I made a joke at our last meeting that these cutesy names, it doesn't mean that that's what we're gonna call the space. I was just having too much fun with this concept, obviously. So Lakeshore Luncheonette is our dining space. So looking at this as our concept with the flooring material, as our stage is here, and then our sand, and then our water and lake, and so with that concept image there. Just some ideas for the walls. So in the upper right-hand corner, we know we are gonna need acoustics in the space, but making sure that those are a design element. So a concept here could be fish scales, it could be waves, but really tying into our concept. And even thinking about if it's a dining space, if there's a learning opportunity for fish in Michigan, or cherries or apples, or something that really ties into food. So now we're heading upstairs to the Upper Peninsula. And I don't know if there's a second. It's back there, right here.
I can help you now.
So, the Upper Peninsula, we have our main corridors again. So we're gonna look at a learning opportunity on the east corridor, learning about the Sioux Locks, very relevant in Michigan. And on the west side of the corridor, looking at, the Iron Ore Heritage Trail as a learning opportunity. So our main corridors, again, we're looking at the wood ceiling. We're looking at a textured wall tile to get our copper concept really across and visual there, and it's a great material that offers some sensory as well. And then now going into Copper Harbor, which is actually the eye center. So just thinking of more opportunities there. The eye center is a grand space, and you can see some of the concepts there. So this is a plan of the space, and using this very natural themed carpet in the upper left-hand corner, the ceiling concept. So we want to do some, a wood pergola ceiling in this lower area there, again, making a bigger space a little bit smaller for the students. Thinking of story time can be under the pergola in those areas. Then we have our ceiling concept with, again, using the acoustics as a design element with those leaves that you see. And then we have our concept here. So this is the eye center, and then STEAM is down here. So our concept here is a connection there where there is going to be storage on the STEAM side that is visible from the eye center. So that really puts that learning on display as well. So I just finished up with the main building, our concept, and now I'm going to head into the preschool. So our concept in the preschool is, and actually now I can go back here, is Portside Cottages. So again, preschool is right in here. So here's our first image of our Portside Cottages. And Carol, thinking about, a space where you take your babies, and this is really what we had in mind, is just a very warm cottage-like space. We didn't want to do anything too rustic, though. We wanted to keep it a little bit more modern, but a lot of wood in this space. Beautiful.
That's
I like the
so
ceiling
cute.
stuff.
Oh my god.
The ceiling stuff is.
It's wonderful. we're so happy. And I mean, none of this is possible without the bond team and their vision. So it's just been a great process. So we talked about the team actually accenting these, you know, window boxes with an accent color to make them pop, which is what we'll definitely do. But looking at that window area as some tackable material. Great space. So then just seeing it in plan, just the floor pattern here. Again, this flooring material is all items that have been used in the district. It works with the concept so well. Just some walls, it's everything we've seen in those renderings. And then the gross motor concept. So this is our concept here, and this is the flooring and this is the floor pattern there. Kind of looking at a shoreline, we have our water, and then we have, you know, our bike trail around here so they can ride their tricycles around. We have land here, and then in the middle here, there's going to be an interactive projector that projects on the floor so the students can interact with it on the floor. So very intentional to make sure that that interactive projector works with our floor pattern, for sure. And even just a furniture idea here to, you know, hit our concept home is like a little sailboat. So it's been wonderful.
Just pause you for 1 minute. Is that a loo? The loo goes on the floor? Like
Yeah, it's a
Yes.
loop type projector, but it projects the image on the floor, you can interact and touch it, it's got sensors on it, yeah.
Mhm.
Cool. Do we get to play with the loos when they come in and
Yes.
get installed? Good, we get to have like an adult playtime.
We're gonna have a
Go
board
check it out.
Pardon? Yes.
Field trip.
Yeah, good.
I mean, it sounds so cool.
We should go to our
So then thinking of how the walls can be interactive in a movement and motor space. And just some sensory wall panels. We know that we're gonna need acoustics here, so how do we tie those into the design with a little bit of a wave pattern at the wall tile behind the drinking fountains. And then our ceiling concept, some suns in there. Of course, you need a nice sunny day when you're out riding your tricycle. So incorporating the lighting in there and also acoustical baffles as well.
Every day is a sunny day.
Exactly.
Actually, it is, that's right.
Exactly.
Or no, maybe recording.
So, and then I'm gonna kind of close that loop with, you know, the Great Laker experience. And everybody hears about AI. I plugged it into ChatGPT and I was like, what is the Great Laker experience? I just wanted to see what it said. And this is what it said, and I'm gonna read it because I'm not sure if everybody can see. It says, the Great Laker Experience is a compelling and evocative name that beautifully encapsulates a school dedicated to exploring Michigan's history and natural heritage. It suggests an immersive, comprehensive educational journey into the state's unique culture, geography, and historical significance. So
I love it.
I
I'm
think-
sorry, you are not like
I didn't. I mean, truthfully,
Actually, that totally does. It's really That's great.
Yeah, it looks great.
any questions?
I just have an idea. Three of my girls.
Oh, wait, no, we can't do, we'll talk after.
No, okay, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know, your mom started, we can't say. It's a,
Any other
we'll talk after.
of the board?
Anyone else from the board, I know you're all taking it in, I have books for you.
No, I think it's beautiful. If you can get the outside to feel as warm as that inside does,
We will.
that's what, but it's gorgeous. I really love all the finishes and the theme, and I love that.
The theme is really, really neat.
It's really neat, yeah, and everywhere you turn,
I think we
there's an
were used to that.
opportunity for them.
I know, thank you, John, it's something new.
Love it. It's very cool.
It really is. So we-
Nicely done, yeah.
Yeah,
I
that is
like the
nice.
one.
Inside's
Beautiful.
Just gorgeous, yeah, it's amazing.
Well
It's
done.
gonna be a fun show.
Great.
Okay, can we be excused?
Thank you.
And your homework for tonight.
It was
Yeah,
very
right.
important though.
Would you
so
like to
it-
teach
it was
kindergarten
really
there?
good.
Would you like to teach kindergarten in that school? She's a kindergarten
Back,
teacher.
you know,
Good night.
with other renderings, we're working on a lot of other illustrations at this point in time as well. Which
Great.
we'll be able to show.
Let me know when to schedule it on our board
Yep,
meeting.
we will.
Seriously.
Alright, now we get to move over to the really fun stuff, the fiscal year 25 school aid budget implications.
Not.
Let's turn the budget around. Here you go.
I'm just kidding, I can't read it, but.
Wait, I know, trust me, I was looking at it on the screen.
I couldn't.
Yeah.
I have extra readers in my purse.
You're showing your age, that's not.
I actually can too, I just don't like to swear.
But I'm used to little wires.
It's all like this. She is. She's in her element. She was in school.
I know.
You're good, they're just.
I wasn't gonna say no. Okay, sorry.
All right.
Debbie, whenever you're ready.
So tonight we're gonna look at, some of the effects of just the major components of the new budget,
The new budget,
the new state budget.
the state budget,
Yeah,
that
that's
we're
the
talking about, yeah.
Okay. So some of the major components, section 31AA, in 23-24, there was 310 million appropriated. They have reduced that to 26.5 million, which is a reduction of $283.5 million. The appropriation is just over 8%, of the prior year appropriation. So,
Can you tell them what 31AA is?
so 31AA is the safety and mental health grant that we received. We received just over 1.1 million in that grant. So next year, it looks like we're gonna receive around $85,000. So that was a major change in the budget. The next, again, as y'all know, we did not receive a foundation increase. So our per pupil foundation will remain at $10,235. Section 147A, A4, so this is a new proposal that they've made this year, that we will receive approximately almost $2.2 million. This is one-time funding at the present time. They did not vote this in, that this would be continuing. This replaces the 147F, which we received in 23-24. We received 186,000, so you can see there is a large difference in that amount. It's supposed to reduce our retirement percentage by around 5% of what we pay. We currently, for next year, we're to pay 31.36% of salary. Section 31 31A our at-risk funding, it looks like we're gonna receive an increase of about 182,000. But this estimate is based on last year's enrollment. These are just numbers they're giving us, they haven't factored in what our enrollment will be yet. And then, they have added some smaller grants, again, I did not include those here. But there's 67F, which is a FAFSA completion grant.
So for the 31A, it says non-public schools can also receive these funds now?
31AA.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was not.
That was not in the past, but that's something they've added for next year.
Meaning charter schools, private schools, or any school?
Yep, any number.
Well,
Charters are considered public schools. But yeah, so parochial, non-public.
Oh.
Yeah,
So
private
any
schools.
of the private schools, yeah.
Which I don't understand.
Right.
Some of the budget assumption variances, from the school aid budget.
Yeah, we'll put it.
We'll add it to board docs.
I was just gonna ask.
Just so
Yeah,
you guys know.
we did it,
We'll
we
add it.
got this updated one Friday afternoon, so we were using the Senate version because that was all that was provided.
No, I had it like a week ago.
That's when we got it.
Sorry, I get stuff early.
Yeah, just saying,
Well, there's a discrepancy anyhow, but
yeah.
And the Senate version was available at the end of June, and then the, House version just was made available, so. So some of the budget assumption variances, from our budget to the school aid budget. So the original 24-25 original budget, we did include a foundation increase. The 3 proposals from the House, the Senate, and the Governor all included, per pupil foundation. And I guess you would be hard pressed to find a district in the state that didn't include one in their budget. So we put in $200 a student, which is about $936,000, based on a student count of 4,680, which is what we use in our budget. The 31A at-risk grant, we budgeted that at $2.3 million. This was an increase of $205,000 from the 23-24 appropriation. So we budgeted just a little bit more than what it looks like we're actually gonna get. The section 31A mental health grant, we budgeted that at 50% of what we received in 23-24. So that allocation, or it was about $557,000. And again, we're probably only gonna get about $85,000. The rate used to budget for the district retirement expenditure was 31.36% of reportable wages. And they are they are said to give us, the 147A money, which will reduce that by about 5%. And again, it depends on how they decide to give us that money. They haven't said yet, so we're not exactly sure, if we're, are they just gonna give us that money and we'll include it in revenue? Or are they gonna give us that money and then they're going to expect us to spread that across all areas of our budget, which for instance would include special education, which then we would lose part of that money because we would lose part of our reimbursement. So they haven't said yet, so we're still waiting on that. The 24-25 does not include, the $186,000 that we received in 23-24 from section 147. So they told us we were not gonna receive the 147F grant. So we removed that from our budget for this year. But then they have now changed that, so now it's 147A4. And then we did not have the 67F grant in our budget. So this is showing how much this is gonna affect our budget. And you can see the differences with the variances. The per pupil foundation, that's a reduction of $936,000. The at-risk, it's a reduction of $23,000 from what we budgeted. The 31A mental health, $472,000. And then the 147F4 is approximately $2,172,529. And then the section 67F, the completion grant, there'll be an additional $52,231. But because it's a grant, we will also have to increase our expenditures. So basically that's a wash for our fund balance. So then on the final slide, I did not include that 67 up here, so that's why there's a difference between the 741 in the previous slide. So here you can see, it's an increase to our fund balance of 1.22%. So it takes our fund balance as a percentage of expenditures to 11.85%. But again, I just wanna caution, this is not like getting a foundation increase. This is not gonna continue for next year unless they decide to vote it back in. So this is one-time money.
Like Esther.
Very much like ESSER, this is one-time money. As far as we know.
Yeah, for now, it's one time. They're working on Senate Bill 911, but there's
But
no
then it's
guarantee.
less, then it's 3%.
Well, it won't be
But it's
less.
a glide path over several
Yeah,
years
probably, yeah.
instead of just taking the whack that we were working towards.
I agree.
And then what are they gonna do with the difference of 2%? With 2%? Like, there's too many unanswered questions.
I mean, that
It is a shame.
it's, yeah, the budget was.
It's so good that they're bragging about it, like it's still
They're bragging
discussed.
about this?
Yeah, the legislators, yes, they are.
Well, they're talking about legislators are, gonna work on supplemental budgets during the summer. They're not coming back till after the election. And anything they do, the Republicans aren't likely to jump on, so it would all be, 90 days after Senate EA again.
I mean, we're fortunate that we weren't killed this year, but there are districts that have been totally slaughtered.
Yeah,
Well, the problem is if they come back and they give us money through grants or
yep.
what have you, I mean, by the time they put them out there, by the time they give us what we have to do to apply for the grants, and by the time they decide
Is it in May
what we're
next
getting, it's
year?
gonna be May.
Yeah. we
You know,
might get it
and so
before
we
it's-
won't really have had a chance to really do anything with the money.
Disgusting. I won't-
Because they're proud of themselves.
So this is gonna be in a, we're gonna put
Yeah,
this,
we'll put it up on the board, that's right away.
and we can study
So
the.
we can digest this.
Yes. This was just to let you know, because we just approved a budget in June, and then the budget that came through is just drastically different than what we approved. So we wanted to make sure that the board, because really you wouldn't have saw it until amendment time, and
I just wanted everybody to be reassured.
Stacy mentioned, well, let us know what the numbers.
Well, we're not upside
You know,
down. like
You know
other
where we're
districts
at
are.
right now, instead of later.
I mean, there are districts that budgeted the full, I've talked to my listserv and, they budgeted the full 31 AA. So they've lost the whole thing.
And then depending on the age or how many years your teachers are, it's like, it affects your ministers. Like if you have all young staff, it's gonna be different, right? With your UAL.
Yes, it depends on what they've selected, yes, the percentage, I mean, the percentage ranges from 20% that we pay on some employees to over 31%.
Right,
So it's different, yeah. And I'm not sure how they're calculating that, are they looking back at last year? Nothing's really been released yet, so.
I'm not sure they know either.
Yeah, I'm sure they don't.
Okay, anyone have any questions? So, I'll keep sharing when I get stuff, but, if you haven't watched the video, that's a good place to start, but you'll have more questions than answers, but at least you'll be able to speak to it, especially if you speak to our legislators. Okay, thank you, Nancy. Okay, number
Can I just
five.
ask a question about the budget?
Five up?
No, just before Nancy goes, in the past, after we pass a budget, Kyle has always then put it into a book form so we know the actual budget. Are we gonna continue to get that or no?
I don't believe we did that last year. I don't have one of those. If you wanna share that with me and I can take a look at it.
Last year, I don't remember.
We didn't get it last
But that was
year either
because
because we were in a flux.
Right, yes, yeah,
And Kyle, we always, you passed that, but that was the one from 21-22.
Thank you very,
I did look
I'll
at
give you
your-
the form and.
It would give you but that's, after we pass the budget, that's what we get, is we got the budget. So that way when you get your budget book in the spring, you have something to reference it.
Instead of online, like we did, I know it was online too. It's easier on paper.
It's easier, way easier on paper. Especially because your budget book is on paper and you can look.
And we'll walk through it as well.
Yep, you can walk through it. Yeah.
Kyle will walk through it.
Kyle, yes.
Alright, let's keep moving.
Okay.
We're gonna move on to the
Yeah.
intergovernmental, thank you, Miss. Intergovernmental agreement.
It's just that, it's just long time.
Well, that was a moment in
How is
time.
this different?
That is
Well, that was a
the
moment
budget.
in time.
That was the budget book last year. This is just this year's.
It
budget.
was a hearing of what we did this year.
You would get
Okay.
next year's when you do the budget book. You get this year's when you do the budget book. Each year you get the previous year.
Like if you looked at our budget book, it was a moment in time on the day that it was passed.
Yeah.
For that, you know.
This is how they actually allocated the budget.
Okay, who's next? We go next.
I guess I'm just gonna say it. Mine is easy. I'm going to look for approval at the August 5th meeting, for an intergovernment agreement with Oakland Schools. Oakland Schools is working with LIGHTCAST. LIGHTCAST provides a lot of alumni pathways information so that we're able to see what our students do post-secondary. Where do they go to school? What are their majors? What's their employment? What jobs are they obtaining? So what they do is they follow our students countywide post-secondary and pull that data. Currently, we don't really have a systematic way to pull post-secondary data from our students. This is going to cover basically, they're gonna be looking at a 10-year range to be able to add years as the contract continues. There's no cost to the local district. It will cost Oakland Schools about 35 to 40 grand per year that will be paid for from a grant that they've received, so this is fully grant funded. LightSource does not sell our data to third party, that's included in the agreement. And basically, it's, no different than some of the colleges that we interface with in terms of getting students certain data from school districts. So, again, it's just another tool for career readiness that lets us know, in terms of fields, certifications, estimated wages, and things like that, in terms of, post-secondary, agreements. So, all 28 districts are, coming to their boards for similar requests so that we will work with Oakland Schools on this issue. So it's here for you to read, and then on August 5th, you will vote on it.
So you want to make it a special meeting on August
Yeah,
5th?
on August 5th, I would like to make that a special meeting, because they need this by, I think it's a week after is kind of the
Okay,
deadline.
so
It's
it's
August 5th?
time frame.
Yeah.
Anyone have any questions on that? If you do, after you read it and everything, please email Danya, copy
Or,
me. And then, so we'll be ready for the August 5th. Anyways, hey, number 6, the order. Alright.
It was nice having my mom, who's a kindergarten 1-2 teacher, here for.
Well, it's nice to have you.